Hello players, welcome. Come on in, pants off, mics on. Make sure you're sitting down because today we're roasting the YouTube tech world's favorite minimalist, Marques Brownlee. That's right, the iPhone babysitter. Mr. Hi, I'm Marques and I have the emotional range of a USB cable. Okay, let's start. Do we have a picture of happy Marques Brownlee? Okay, try another one. Try again. Look, never mind. Now, some of you may be wondering, why Marques? And to that I say, why the hell not? He's got 18 million subscribers, $1 billion smile, and the courage not to hide his boner when sitting next to Tim Cook. Please, can I ask you questions about the iPhone? More on that later. Also, you guys voted for me to roast Marques next, and I do what I'm told, whether you're wearing leather or not. Okay. Yes, Marques Brownlee, the man who can say absolutely nothing about a phone for 17 minutes straight. In cinematic 8K. The only guy who could drive 96 miles per hour in a residential zone and somehow still seem mildly disappointed at his own apology. But don't worry, we're not diving straight into the espresso shots of truth just yet. We'll start gentle. We'll begin with a light roast. All right, let's ease into this like Marques eases into a OnePlus review. Overly polite, weirdly reverent, and with zero chance of actually saying anything that might piss off a brand. Every Marques video is like watching a museum exhibit come to life. It's so clean, so sterile, and I half expect him to unbox an iPhone while wearing gloves and whispering, "This is art." Actually, I think he's done that. And let's talk about his set. The dude's studio looks like the inside of Google's Daydream. Giant white walls, color-coordinated shelves, and it's less of workspace and more of tech-themed IKEA catalog curated by a man who's afraid of fingerprints. He reviews everything like it's the second coming of Christ in anodized aluminium. The phone feels premium. Dude, you just said that about a toaster last week. I'm convinced he can unbox a dead rat in a matte black box and say, solid build quality, minimal wobble, less bitey with the latest update. And why does he always sound like he's about to offer you a masterclass on being unthreatening? Marques has the exact same delivery whether he's reviewing a phone, buying a Cybertruck, or accidentally reenacting Fast and Furious Suburban Drift in a DJI ad. You never catch me doing the same tired style over and over again. I am your tech jester. Okay, we can take the gloves off now and Marques can put them back on because he's about to shake Tim Cook's hand. Let's talk about Panels, the app Marques launched that lets you browse hand-picked wallpapers for the low price of $12.99 a month. Let me repeat that, $12 a month to download backgrounds for your phone. I mean, in the 90s, they only cost $1. Honestly, I haven't seen a more underwhelming premium offering since the OnlyFans for the guy who played Jar Jar Binks. And the best is that it has ads for free users. Yes, Marques launched a subscription wallpaper app that also serves you ads. At this point, I think he's just trying to see what he can get away with. Now, what if, bear with me here, I made people pay for JPEGs of other people's art and call it curation? As Panels. This is the same guy who once said he cared about user experience. Yeah, charging people $50 a year to scroll through Midjourney's Wet Dreams is the kind of user experience that ends with a chargeback and a middle finger. Panels looked like it was designed by someone who thought r/wallpapers was too dangerous and decided to make it more Marques friendly, like it's Apple Notes. Like Apple Notes had a baby with Pinterest and then forgot to feed it. Let's shift gears, or rather slam them, and talk about the time Marques turned a DJI camera review into a scene from Need for Speed. Yes, our smooth-talking, slick-edited Prince of Pixel Peeping decided to hit 96 miles an hour in a 35 zone. That's not B-roll, Marques, that's a moving crime scene. You're driving was so reckless that they are putting it in GTA 6. And when people noticed the speedometer was blurred, Marques said, "Oops, my bad, won't happen again." Like it was a mild hiccup at brunch, not an illegal cannonball run through suburbia. Imagine being that rich and still committing to sponsored content so hard that you become the first tech tuber to do a real-life speedrun. I haven't seen a man go from tech reviewer to getaway driver this fast since Linus tried to auction off a prototype. And look, Marques doesn't like apologizing. You can feel it. You know when that face he makes when he's addressing the backlash is like someone just told him that he had to film a whole video using Android. I'm sorry. He hates apologizing the same way that Apple hates USB-C consistency. Every time he screws up, he acts like YouTube's forcing him to say sorry while holding a gun to his macro lens. And yet somehow Marques is never really responsible. Not for panels, not for blurred out felony footage, not for anything. He floats above the controversy like a $2,000 MacBook held up by a dongle made of good vibes. And you know what Marques really is? He's the tech community's golden retriever. Pretty, loyal, and absolutely shocked when he pees on the carpet and you don't say good boy. Okay, it's time to take off the second pair of gloves that were underneath the first pair. Cases gone, and Marques Brownlee is about to get dropped harder than the resale value of a folding Pixel. Okay, let's talk about the Tim Cook interview. You remember that? The legendary tech journalism moment where Marques Brownlee, captaining objective tech reviews, finally sat across from the CEO of Apple and said, "What's your favorite iPhone color?" That wasn't a real interview. That wasn't hard-hitting questions. That was foreplay. That was a sponsored snuggle session with the PR department, who were just off camera holding a "Please Be Nice" sign in one hand and a bag with a dollar sign on the other. Marques had a chance to ask the real questions, like why is the iOS still a walled garden, and what happened to repairability, and why do you still ship 60Hz displays on $1,000 devices like it's 2016? And instead we got, "So Dynamic Island, huh? That's good. I like Apple." Tim Cook could have farted into a HomePod and Marques would have replied, very clean execution. He doesn't interview CEOs, he gives them verbal handjobs with cinematic lighting and a comfy chair. Now fast forward to every time he's forced to issue an apology. To be fair, it's not that often, but let's be clear, forced is the right word. Marques doesn't apologize, he releases performance art under duress, which is pretty much like this show, really. like the time he blurred out the speedometer during his sponsored joyride and got called out harder than ChatGPT in a philosophy class. When people noticed, what did Marques do? Did he delete the footage? Yes, he did that. Did he say he'll do better? Yes, he did that as well. And take responsibility? I messed up, but it's already gone, so we can move on now? Yes? That's that's another minimalist Marques feature. Accountability. Okay, yeah, I look forward to your comments. Of course he brought a Cybertruck. To be fair, this was before Elon went full Nazi. For those of you who don't know, a Cybertruck is a $100,000 Tonka toy for grown-ass tech bros who never got hugged. But he still reviews it like it's not the vehicle embodiment of Elon Musk's life crisis. You know, it's got its quirks. Quirks, Marques? That thing looks like a DeLorean got rejected from the BDSM club. If you did have a time machine, on the way back to killing Hitler, we could stop off on the way and put the Cybertruck out of its mystery. Although if we did kill Hitler, there would be no Elon Musk, so, well, that's a great 2-for-1 offer. You paid 6 figures to drive around in a stainless steel toddler coffin with blind spots the size of YouTube's moral compass. Congratulations. If a smaller creator did half the stunts that Marques has pulled, speed footage, AI wallpaper scam app, oh, it's not AI, it's real artists, apparently, overpriced merch drops, they'd be cancelled faster than a Stadia subscription. But Marques, no, he floats above it. Why? Because he's tech royalty and he keeps it clean. Wonder what that's like. Because the entire industry treats him like he's a Swiss watch made of carbon fiber and sponsored neutrality. Unless you're the humane pin, he destroyed them. Well, when everything is good, I suppose when something is bad, it must be really bad. But if Marques ever grows a spine longer than an iPhone's battery life, maybe one day he'll actually ask Tim Cook why the hell lightning was still a thing in 2024. But until then, he'll keep whispering sweet nothings into the ears of trillion-dollar corporations while pretending it's journalism. All right, it's time to cool down for a moment because as much as I've dragged this man, I gotta admit, something uncomfortable. Marques Brownlee, he is good. Yeah, I said it. I mean, the man's work ethic is so intense, I'm convinced he films in 8K just so he can see the exact moment his soul leaves his body during a Galaxy Buds unboxing. He built a tech empire on being calm, clean, and competent, which in this industry is like building a castle out of sand while everyone else is throwing feces for clicks while calling themselves Tech Jester. And say what you want, I have, but Marques, he does the work. The man has better production quality than some Netflix pilots. His B-roll is smoother than his driving isn't. And you know what? He's one of the few creators who didn't have to rely on drama, screaming thumbnails, or clickbait. Like this iPhone literally exploded in my ass, not clickbait. He stayed classy, monotone as hell, but classy. And look, as much as I just incinerated them over panels, Cybertruck stupidity, and the Tim Cook cuddle fest, I do hope Marques can laugh at this. Because that's the mark of a real creator. It's not just how well you can handle praise, but whether you can handle being roasted without deleting your channel, blocking everyone, and crying into your AirPods Max. Marques, if you're watching this, and let's be honest, you're probably not, because I didn't pay you to. I hope you know this is all love. Mostly. Deep-cutting, brutal, surgical satire love. The kind of love that gives you a compliment and then pants you in front of the whole school. And you are a tech YouTube legend. You are the standard that everyone copies. Apart from me, because my standards are much lower, and some others. But you are the cinematic overlord of unboxing. And just so you know, panels was pretty shit. And that, my beautiful players, was the roast of Marques Brownlee, the multi-million subscriber powerhouse with the emotional intensity of a Tesla startup sound and the editing precision of a German proctologist. Those are good things. We laughed, we cried, we questioned our life choices again. And most importantly, we learned that a wallpaper app can cost more than Netflix, that speeding through neighborhoods is apparently just B-roll, that Tim Cook interviews just what happens when you let a Genius Bar employee do journalism, and that minimalism sometimes means never saying sorry. But real talk, Marques, if by some algorithmic chaos miracle you actually watch this, I really do hope you laughed, or at least excelled slightly harder than usual through your nose. Because we all need to be roasted sometimes. It's how we stay human. Well, human adjacent in my case. I have been your tech jester. Stay sexy, be excellent to each other, and remember, no matter how fast you're driving, you can't outrun a roast. Good night, everybody.